This is Paulina Combow with Radio Free Nashville. So how does a high school student whose dream house is a medieval castle make that dream a reality? I talked to Mike Freeman, who built and lives in Castle Gwynn in Triumph, Tennessee, which also happens to be the site for the Tennessee Renaissance Festival. Mike explains how he built the castle over 4 decades.
So, tell me about Castle Gwynn. I was reading a little bit about it. It started out as your dream house, right, in high school?
Right. I thought, actually started out, my dad tells the story that he was a World War II veteran, and he was built bridges. He was a combat engineer, and he was in the Battle of the Bulge and built bridges across the Rhine River. And you've heard the expression "spoils of war."
Yeah.
You know, well, his spoils of war consisted of some postcards he got out of a bombed-out gift shop on the Rhine River, and those, you know how the little postcards were all connected together, kind of like an accordion type thing?
Yeah.
Right. Well, he had one that was Castles on the Rhine, and I remember looking at that as a child when Sunday afternoon there wasn't anything on television to watch, so I'd pull his box out of pictures from World War II and look at them. And he says when I was about 5 years old, he says someday when I get big, I'm gonna live in a castle, you know. And he was telling us the story. And of course, I was 5 years old at the time. I do remember looking at them and everything. And I actually do live in a castle. And if you ever saw me, I got big too. But when I was a senior in high school, everybody else was drawing, you know, ranch-style houses. And I'd seen a movie recently at that time with Charlton Heston called The Warlord. And I thought how neat. Now, if the entire castle is impossible with one tower, now that's possible, you know. And the whole movie revolved around one tower in the movie, and called A Keep. And I thought that'd be kind of neat to live in, and so I started drawing plans. And then I spent about 10 years doing research and found property. And in 1980, that was in 1970, and in 1980 we broke ground. And 35 years later, we're still working on it. With any luck, another 35 years, I might get it finished.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. You guys are constantly doing stuff to it and putting on additions. And you're also, you know, you're interested in keeping the integrity of the time period, but, you know, you don't want to live in the Dark Ages,
no,
obviously.
No, but all the modern things, we try to conceal them as much as possible, you know, and keep the, like you said, the look and the integrity of it as close as possible, the original. And to me, I mean, I've been really, to say I've done this all by myself would be a gross exaggeration. I've had a whole lot of help from a whole lot of people who shared in the dream to make it possible. It's just, I started now, it'd probably be, you know, 2 o'clock this afternoon before I get through telling you all the people and all the things they've done. But,
how many stonemasons and electricians can say they built a castle, right?
Right. Well, I had the one that started out was that the mason had got the tower up, and he came out and actually dated his daughter back in high school, and that's when I started drawing the plans to it. And he came out and said, "Anybody crazy enough to do it? He's crazy enough to help." But the story he loves telling is the one where I asked him when I was 18 years old if you know. When I get ready to build my castle, would you help me on it? And he said, "Yeah, sure, if you stop dating my daughter."
Oh.
But so I did, and he did. So, but now we're still all best of friends. But I mean, do you imagine an 18-year-old kid, I'm going to build a castle, and you're going, sure. I don't think I want him in my family. But,
well, yeah, exactly. I'm sure people thought it was just a phase, right?
Right. But I was determined not to be one of those people, you know, that just talked about it and never did anything. So, anyway, but when he came out and he saw what I'd accomplished, I got the first tower almost up to the embattlement. So I got he came out and finished at the top, and then we immediately started working on the inside, and we spent about 2 years doing the brickwork inside. We started off with 8 brick arches. When we got through, we had 60 brick arches and 14,000 bricks in the kitchen. Not a drawing one was ever made. Everything I dreamed up, he and I figured out a way to do. And his sons helped work on it too. and the cost on it was, as I remember, it was like $1,400. It was 10 cents a brick, 2 years of weekends, and 4 weddings. And I'm a wedding star. I do school pictures of weddings and things, so the old barter system still works.
And you got married at the castle, right?
Right. My wife and I's first date, I showed her a hole in the ground. I already bought the property at that time, and once we got serious, I said, well, as soon as I get the castle built, we'll get married. Well, I'm a man of my word. 12 years later, we got married.
Oh, only 12 years.
Only 12 years, yeah. But,
so do you guys do other weddings out there, or was that a special one?
That was a special one, yeah. And I did a lot of school photography. I did senior portraits mostly, and with the proms and the school pictures and everything else, it was my average day started at 4 a.m. and if I was like a good bit about 9 or 10 o'clock at night,
Mm-hmm.
that was a average 5 days a week like that. So it was enjoyed my photography work, but it was very demanding, and I've semi-retired from that now, and so that part of those contracts a few years ago, and just doing a few family portraits and things like that now.
Mm-hmm.
And, semi-retired from that, but still the festival takes up all the rest of the time now.
That's awesome. So during the festival, which is going on this month, the Renaissance Festival, people can actually come and tour the castle. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We have to do tours. The first 11 years, we actually had the festival around the castle, and then the state of Tennessee decided to put an interstate in my front yard, so we had to relocate. Luckily, there was land came available across the street. And so that's the reason we have to have bus tours to bring people over to the castle. But we're able to open up the first floor and grounds, and they can see all the beautiful brickwork Mr. Kennedy and his sons helped me do. And what's amazing, we've got it worked down after 30 years. We finally, after 19 years, we've been on the other side, finally got it down to a fine science. The line looks like when people get in line, they look at, that's a 2-hour wait. Actually, it's more from the time you get in line to the time you're over at the castle, more on the average of 30 minutes.
Oh.
And, they have 4 buses running constantly, and what they do is pick up 2 at a time and come across, and the time they load up, come across, get in, the line really moves fast, but people just take one look at that line and say, oh, no way. And
mm-hmm.
Every day at 3 o'clock, that's usually when the line is the longest. It really, it stretches all the way back into the festival site and everything else from the usual queue that we have for it. And by 3:30, the last people are standing in front of me. So that the line really moves fast. But you take a look at the line and you think, no way.
Yeah.
And it's one of those things. But we've you're able to see. I've got a display of armor, and I've actually carved a horse and made a suit of armor, and I have that on display. And it's one of the things, and I also have a Crusader sword, which has a little history behind it. It's actually the man that dug it up. It was dug up on the battlefield at Acre in Jerusalem, and Third Crusade, 1191. You've heard of Richard the Lionheart,
mm-hmm.
Right? Well, that was the same crusade he was on. So the sword dates back to that period. And,
wow.
And we have it on display, and always heard it was good luck to touch a medieval sword, so as everybody touched the pommel. It's kind of like Barney Stone, except you don't kiss the sword, you just touch it.
So everybody gets to touch the sword from the Crusades, huh?
Right, And one thing that a lot of people, every book that I've ever read or, listened to on tape or whatever, I'll say how heavy the swords were. I have a sword that you're able to, I had to put in a plexiglass tube to keep people from stabbing each other, but, but I put it in a plexiglass tube, and you feel the weight of it, and most swords weigh anywhere from 1 to 2, 2.5 pounds, and they were really lightweight, but for some reason, it's one of those things that once it's, somebody says there were big heavy swords, and there were a few big heavy swords, there were two-handed swords, but that was a different thing altogether. But the true medieval swords were not that heavy. I mean, you couldn't swing them all day if they were. So, one of those misconceptions. But I try to break them. And I try to educate people a little bit about the history of the castle. I mean, history of the castles. If you were to most people see stone and think, well, all the castles had stone on the outside, which, in fact, if you were to take a time machine back to the Middle Ages, you'd find that most castles during the Middle Ages were white on the outside.
Mm-hmm. And that's what Castle Gwynn means, right?
Right, Castle Gwynn means. And one of the reasons for that is military. There's no way to climb a white wall on the darkest night and not be seen by one of the guards.
Oh.
So the Tower of London was called the White Tower. You see illustrations of it, and it's always white. And so that's the name of the Castle Gwynn, which is the Welsh for White Castle.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, because if it was night and there's stonework, then you'd be able to be pretty easily concealed, I guess, if you're trying to climb up the wall.
Right. But it actually worked in reverse one time when Princess was being attacked in a snowstorm. So they all dressed in white and climbed out during the siege, and the snowstorm was coming along. They all dressed in white and climbed down the wall and escaped, by wearing white at night. So so it actually, one time it actually worked to, in a snowstorm, it actually worked to their advantage. But that was a rare exception to the case.
Oh, yeah, exactly. And then do you know, how many square feet the castle actually is?
It's about 700 square feet per floor. And you got seven stories in the first tower.
7 stories?
Uh-huh.
Oh, wow. And there's 2 towers, and then I guess the castle connects the 2? Right.
I have connecting have a covered breezeway at the ground level, then an open breezeway on the second floor. And the third floor is a connector that is an extension to the master bedroom. We just when we first moved in the castle 27 years ago, my wife and I didn't have time to finish the master bedroom, so it got put on hold, and we've been living in the guest bedroom for 26 years. Finally, this year, we after 2 years more working on it, doing all the woodworking, we finally got the master bedroom finished, so we're now living in that.
Well, finally, yeah, you got an upgrade in your own castle, huh?
Right. It just, I've lived in the guest rooms for 26 years, so it's just one of those things that it's a work in progress, and to me, the fun part is figuring out how to do it, working with the different craftsmen.
Now, so your house, the castle, that's the one that was used in one of the Taylor Swift videos?
Right, that's correct. She did, I think her second song, the love story, the one that won everything there was to win that year at the awards and everything else. She won Best Video, and I mean, number one song and everything else. And of course, that when she did the video, is Taylor who?
Yeah.
And but when they came out here, it was like a major movie. It was had like 75 people. They had an art director that came out the day before and didn't like the way the front steps were. I just had on the top, I had stone steps coming out the front, and I had just a smooth coating of buff mortar on top of it, and they didn't like the lines, so they went and painted rock on it.
Oh. So
that at a foot away, or people look at it, they have noticed it's not really rock. I mean, not really just painted. It still looks good. And it just, for the video, they hired some of the top-notch people to do it. And, I'm a photographer, and I'd done a portrait of a girl with the light coming through her hair, like it does in the video, sitting in one of the arches. And I had that on display when they came in. The guy that came out to look at the thing, they saw that, took a picture of that, and took it back and showed that their art director. They just got really excited about it, so they painted it out late afternoon, so the light would be coming through. And but they had booms, cranes. They worked I think 3 o'clock in the morning filming some of the night scenes that was
wow.
So it was, but they had to have the light just right, for the coming through there. So it was maybe the one thing that I thought was they actually hired a guy that flew flying from New York to coach her how to walk. And
like they did back then, or?
Well, no, she ran down the staircase, and I think she had to do some dancing, in part of it. So and everything else. But I asked him 3 times, and I think he actually made more money on the deal than I did.
Yeah, really.
So anybody coming from New York would be a high price. So but it just, but I had no idea, the magnitude of it, or but the next year when we had school day, every little girl came up and said, "Where did Taylor Swift stand?" I was standing in the same place.
Aw.
So, they were all so excited about it, and to this day, they're still that way. It's just the Taylor Swift, dream castle. She's inspired so many kids and been such a positive influence on so many children. And it's really great, the way she is.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome, and I can't wait to come. I'm going to come this weekend, and we're definitely going to go on the tour. But thank you so much for talking to me, and I look forward to meeting you and seeing the castle.
Thanks to Mike Freeman for speaking to me. You can tour Castle Gwynn this weekend and next weekend, Memorial Day weekend, at the Tennessee Renaissance Festival. Get a free tour with your ticket into that, and it's open from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. Check it out.